What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon Kindle Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also to ask me to put it up, so I'll put it up. Thanks everybody for supporting. This video though is entitled Credit and Race. So I'm looking because I gotta get another car. I got a work car, gotta get another car. So I'm looking at credit. Looking at my credit. And then I just said, you know what, let me see what's the average credit score in America. And it was like either 673 or I want to say 697. Between that range, right? And then I was like, okay, what about, what's the average credit card debt in America? And the average credit card debt was between $5,700 and I want to say 7,000 was probably the tops. So between 5,700, it's like I'll say I think 6,700 or something like that when you ask for the average, something around there. And then, what's the average credit score by age? And always the older you got, the better your credit got. The younger you were, you had more of a propensity to have something under a 600. You know what I'm saying? And even the younger you were, even into the 40s, the people under 600 was around 40%. So everybody else was, from I would say 600, 601 and up. That's what fluctuated, maybe 20% here, 10% here. You know what I'm saying? So it was it was high. Well, it was this end for the 40, then it went all the way down, like 20, then 12, then 10, and then like 20 or some shit like that. For 800s. That's pretty much how I was going by age, in age groups. Then I looked up class. So, the poorer you were, the high. Like if you made under 25,000 or 20,000, you had the average was like $10,000 in credit card debt. I'm guessing they throwing in payday loans and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. But after that, everybody else hovered around 5 to 8,000 when you went up, income. And then I went by race. And oddly enough, when I went by race, I want to say Asians had the highest debt as a group, closely followed by whites, then Hispanics, and then black. So we had the least amount of credit card debt on an average. But right after that, who probably had the worst credit? Blacks. And people don't get that sometimes because, if you don't owe people and you're not paying back people, you don't, how can I say this? Your credit doesn't go up. And, I've suffered from this for a very long time. I know exactly what that is. I don't have any student loan debt. I paid my student loans off like roughly 8 months after I graduated college. I had my identity stolen and that took my credit down. But even though it took my credit down, I had to pay that off. Got stolen by a family member. I should have beat his ass, but whatever. But after that, no collections. I got one credit card paid off, and I got a mortgage. That's it. Now, people would say that's kind of fiscally responsible. That doesn't work that way with credit, though. You know, you pay your mortgage. You've been paying it for over a decade. Yeah. We've been having this credit card for maybe 5 years, and it stays paid off. Yeah. That's it. That's all you got. Yeah. You know, and I say a non-custodial father, i.e., I don't have child support issues because that just comes straight out of my check, right? So, if you don't pay child support to a degree, you get behind, they take your license. That also can affect your credit. But, the things that I was raised to be like a cash person. So, for all of us people who are raised to be cash people, because you're a cash person, you may have a propensity to have a lower credit score, even though you are probably more responsible with money than a person who has a higher credit score, but they're constantly paying extra bills, i.e. credit cards. So you could have a high. This is why they were talking about swapping balances and whatnot. So for some black people, y'all don't, y'all gotta take that into consideration. That we as a group, and plus, here's the thing: we also have had a history of people either overcharge us for things, or we can't access capital like other people can. So some of the debts that other people have in this credit is probably business related also. Not just personal, but business related. Because that's why I got my credit card, to be perfectly honest. I got one of those credit cards that get the points on the flights and stuff. I never really used it until I got a trip coming up that cost me $11 because I used the points. And this is what other people do. They get points and they use their credit card as that to accrue extra points to pay, to get more things, So for me, it's different. I really don't see the difference, to be perfectly honest. But I didn't pay off my whole trip on points, so who knows? I paid off the plane ticket on points. Everything else I kept to myself. But we don't do things like that. I'm not going to say we don't, but few people do things like that, because one of the things I did notice is even the richer you got, like they had, like, if you make $500,000 and up, their debt was like, credit card debt was like $5,000 and something dollars. So they just doing stuff just to accrue freebies with a point system, in my opinion. Other people, they had people in the comment section, like, they lost their job, so they had to live on their credit card. Some people fall on hard times. They don't have money for emergencies, so they go to their credit card as a sense of emergency, and then they get caught up. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because one of the things that was, because I read about 4 or 5 different articles. So one of the things that stood out to me was this ideology where after you hit a certain number, depending on your income, people felt as if, they weren't going to be able to get out of the debt. And I understand what that feels like, because if you hit a certain amount, the interest alone is going to start killing you. And if you don't, this is why you use credit cards for small purchases, gas, maybe a dinner here and there. But when you start buying big things on credit, you know, that bill is the minimum charge is not going to do a damn thing to take that down. You know, so people are paying $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 credit card monthly, just minimums, because the interest keeps accruing and they can't pay it down because they hit a number that they couldn't manage. But even when you do that, to a degree, it kind of boosts your credit score, but it perpetually keeps you in the hole. You know, and a person like me who doesn't keep debt like that, it puts me in a bad position because, like, you kind of in the catch-22, because it's like they're going to pay stuff off. That's not what we're looking for. So that's how I look at it, but y'all tell me what you think. Peace. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one.